rootworm is on a lot of farmers' minds, especially in the Midwest. How did we kind of get to this high level of corn rootworm pressure?
Well, I think there's several dynamics. One is really been around the growth of corn acres and the growth of continuous corn acres. And what's one of the primary things that's driven that is the economics have changed and shifted. The amount of gross revenue per acre for corn has really set itself apart from other crops. Soybeans, in the Midwest primarily, and other crops in other areas. So we're growing a lot of more corn acres throughout, and then in our core states like Iowa, Illinois, Nebraska, Minnesota, and other parts, people are doing more corn on corn than they ever have in a long time, and in areas they haven't done that. So you combine that where we know corn on corn or continuous corn will always have a higher population of corn rootworm. It's really set up kind of a storm from that perspective.
So what are the common questions that you get from farmers about corn rootworms?
Well, today some of the key common questions are, just what's going on in other areas. Are other people having issues, whether it be on traded corn? Are they seeing more populations, no matter what the trade are? That's probably been some of the bigger issues and questions they have. The other part is what kind of options they have. And so we try to step them through everything, but I think one of the things that they ask is, are we seeing, trait, not holding up? And what we've really talked them through is, there's areas where we see overwhelming populations, especially as we've increased corn and corn acres. Singular corn rootworm events probably are being more challenged than they were in the past. So we're seeing areas there that might need extra protection, but still trying to learn more is what's going on with the, with smart sacks or the, hybrids that have two different corn rootworm traits.
And obviously 2012 was a very unusual production year with the drought impact. How did the drought impact corn rootworm?
Well, I think that for the most part, through the planting season and the early part of the spring, it probably didn't impact it a lot because we had ample moisture in the beginning. So that's from a life cycle management, from a root damage and the larvae standpoint, they're probably able to flourish. We had a few exceptions where we had some performance issues with some of the products, just because we all of our solutions are granular soil insecticides, so the granulars do need moisture to help break down. For the most part, we didn't really see a percentage-wise level of complaints more than we've had in the past. So that was good to see that we had performance from the products. So there's a lot of questions that now in growers' minds is because we had such a dry year. Depending on what this winter does, will we see heavy populations the next year? And those are really hard to answer. But I think that if we're in areas that've got heavy corn on corn acres, or areas that have had problems in the past, it's probably good to be doing the planning now to manage those issues for this next year.
And so what are your production guidelines for next year when thinking about corn rootworm?
Well, I think one, the most important part is you develop, your plan for next year is starting with just choosing the right hybrid for your operation, making sure you're getting the hybrid that's going to maximize your yields for the type of soils that you have and the type of environment you have. That's decision number one. And then number two, if you can find a hybrid that's got dual traits, I think that's a great solution there. If you can't, and you're in an area where you suspect that you're going to have heavy populations of corn rootworm, you need to look at a corn soil insecticide to use in combination either with traits, or if you have a conventional, you would need that for sure for some type of protection level. And we fortunately have a lot of options from that perspective.
All right, and what are some of the products you offer in corn rootworm control?
So our number one product for corn rootworm control is Aztec insecticide. It's the market leader as far as corn rootworm control. It has dual modes of action from a chemistry standpoint, and gives probably the longest season control. Another great product that growers are starting to look at and are getting introduced to is Smart Choice. Smart Choice has great control of rootworm along with other secondary pests. The great fit for Smart Choice for growers is, especially if they're using 20-inch rows, 15-inch rows, or in certain scenarios, twin rows, gives you the true rate flexibility you need for the proper protection.